Lucille Ball, the iconic queen of comedy, captured the hearts of millions with her unmatched talent, infectious laughter, and groundbreaking television career. Yet behind the bright lights and endless laughs, the final 2 decades of her life were filled with struggles, secrets, and shocking revelations that fans never expected. Today, the truth about those years has finally come to light, and it paints a far more complicated picture than anyone imagined. After decades of fame, accolades, and adoration, Lucille faced challenges that tested her resilience like never before. Close friends and insiders reveal that the legendary actress dealt with personal losses, strained relationships, and health struggles that were carefully hidden from the public. While her on-screen persona remained bubbly and spirited, off-screen, Lucille was navigating emotional and physical hardships that she endured largely in private. The truth, sources say, also involves unexpected controversies and tensions with family members and colleagues, moments that were rarely discussed publicly but left deep emotional marks. From conflicts over her estate to disagreements with those closest to her, Lucille's later years were anything but simple. She reportedly grappled with loneliness even as she remained in the spotlight, surrounded by people yet isolated by the unique pressures of her legendary status. Fans have expressed shock and disbelief at the revelations. Social media is buzzing with speculation, grief, and newfound admiration for her courage in facing such trials while maintaining the persona that endeared her to the world. What many assumed were years of peaceful retirement were, in reality, decades filled with struggles she quietly shouldered, keeping the world smiling while battling her own private demons. The question now haunting admirers and historians alike: what exactly happened during Lucille Ball's final 20 years? And how did the hidden struggles of these years shape the legacy of one of television's greatest stars? By the late 1970s, Lucille Ball was no longer the fresh-faced star of I Love Lucy. The golden years of television fame had solidified her legacy. But the sparkle in her eyes now carried layers of fatigue and complexity. Behind the laughter that had once filled living rooms across America, Lucille faced a life far more complicated than her audience could have imagined. The public saw her as a symbol of joy, a comedic genius whose energy seemed limitless. But the private reality was a far more challenging narrative. Lucille's health began to fluctuate during these years, though she insisted on maintaining appearances. Heart concerns, bouts of exhaustion, and the cumulative toll of decades in show business made daily life a careful balancing act. Friends recall her pushing herself through long days on set and public appearances, always determined to appear vibrant and energetic. Even those closest to her struggled to see the depth of her struggles, as Lucille had mastered the art of masking pain behind humor and charm. Yet the health challenges were only one facet of her later years. Family tensions increasingly came to the forefront. Disputes over her estate, disagreements with her children, and strained relationships with longtime collaborators created an emotional weight that few could witness. Those who worked with her recall moments of frustration and isolation, when the vibrant comedian who had once commanded stages now withdrew into herself, quietly navigating the pressures of fame, aging, and complex personal dynamics. In addition to health and family challenges, Lucille also grappled with the rapidly changing television landscape. The industry she had helped define was evolving, and the roles offered to women of her age were limited. Offers to appear on-screen became sporadic, and she was forced to confront a sense of professional obsolescence, even as her name remained iconic. For someone whose identity had been so intertwined with performance, these limitations were difficult to accept. She sought solace in selective projects, careful not to overextend herself while maintaining the standards she had always set. Despite the struggles, Lucille demonstrated remarkable resilience. She continued to attend charity events, make public appearances, and mentor younger performers, quietly passing on her knowledge and legacy. She found comfort in her routines, in the rituals that had long grounded her, and in the rare moments of genuine connection with friends who understood her complexities. Her humor, though sometimes tinged with weariness, remained a lifeline both for her and for those around her. The final 2 decades of Lucille Ball's life, once thought to be peaceful retirement, were in reality a tapestry of resilience, struggle, and determination. While she faced health challenges, personal conflicts, and professional hurdles, she remained committed to her craft, her public persona, and her legacy. The world may have seen the laughter, but beneath it was a woman navigating some of the most challenging chapters of her life with quiet courage and unyielding strength. By the early 1980s, Lucille Ball's later years had become a delicate balancing act. On one hand, she remained a cultural icon, beloved by fans around the world for her groundbreaking work in television and film. On the other, the private battles she fought were growing more pronounced, demanding energy and attention she sometimes struggled to summon. Friends and colleagues noticed subtle changes, moments of fatigue during interviews, quieter demeanors at social gatherings, and a tendency to retreat after long days on set. Those who had once relied on her comedic brilliance now saw a vulnerability she carefully concealed. Health was a persistent concern. Lucille's heart condition and other ailments required her to monitor every aspect of her daily life. Even minor exertion could leave her drained, yet she insisted on maintaining her schedule and appearances. Interviews with close friends reveal that she often pushed herself to the brink, unwilling to show weakness publicly. Behind the bright smiles and perfectly timed laughs, she was a woman quietly negotiating the limitations her body imposed. Every effort to appear energetic masked hours of discomfort, and few could fully comprehend the toll it took on her spirit. Family dynamics added another layer of complexity. While Lucille loved her children deeply, disagreements over inheritance, career choices, and personal decisions created emotional strain. Arguments, some minor and others deeply painful, left her oscillating between frustration and guilt. Friends recall her confiding in them late at night, speaking in whispers about regrets and unresolved tensions. Despite the public perception of a happy family life, Lucille's private experience was often fraught with difficult conversations, careful navigation of sensitive issues, and a longing for reconciliation that didn't always come easily. Her professional world presented its own challenges. Television and film were evolving rapidly, and roles for women her age were limited. The industry she had helped shape no longer offered the same opportunities, and she was forced to contend with rejection and obsolescence while maintaining her legacy. She approached this with characteristic determination, seeking out projects that suited her abilities while declining those that didn't align with her standards. For Lucille, protecting the integrity of her career became as important as preserving her personal well-being. Despite these struggles, Lucille's resilience remained evident. She continued mentoring younger performers, supporting charitable causes, and engaging with fans who had admired her for decades. Her sense of humor, though occasionally tinged with weariness, remained sharp, a lifeline that connected her to the world even when fatigue threatened to isolate her. Through these efforts, she managed to navigate the final decades of her life with courage, dignity, and an unwavering commitment to both her public persona and her private values. Lucille Ball's final 20 years were far from the quiet, peaceful retirement many imagined. Behind the laughter and accolades lay a woman negotiating health challenges, family tension, and professional obstacles. Yet in every interaction, every carefully chosen project, and every moment of generosity, she demonstrated a remarkable strength, a strength that ensured her legacy would endure, even in the face of private struggle. As the 1990s approached, Lucille Ball's life took on an increasingly complex rhythm. Friends and colleagues who remained close to her recall that she often wrestled with a mixture of pride, nostalgia, and quiet sorrow. The laughter that had once defined her career remained, but it was tempered by the realities of age, health challenges, and personal isolation. Though the public continued to celebrate her brilliance, very few truly understood the pressure she bore behind the scenes. Health struggles became more pronounced. Lucille's heart condition, compounded by the natural aging process, required careful management. Simple activities that once brought joy now demanded energy she didn't always have. Friends recall how she would often leave public events early, apologizing with a smile, yet in private, she sometimes felt a deep frustration at her limitations. Even in her home, she arranged her daily life meticulously, ensuring that every task could be handled without overexertion. But the physical strain was only part of the challenge. Family tensions also deepened during this period. Disagreements over estate planning, financial decisions, and personal autonomy created strains that were never fully resolved. Lucille loved her children dearly, but the complexities of wealth, fame, and legacy often complicated ordinary parent-child relationships. Letters and personal accounts from friends suggest that she carried a heavy burden of guilt, constantly questioning whether she had done enough to maintain harmony within her family. These emotional battles, fought quietly, added to the weight of her everyday life. Professionally, Lucille remained selective and discerning. The television and film industry had shifted, and roles for women of her age were scarce. She declined many offers, unwilling to compromise her standards or diminish the legacy she had carefully built over decades. Yet, she did participate in projects that reignited her passion, including mentoring young actors and appearing in special television events that reminded the world of her genius. These opportunities, though limited, brought her moments of satisfaction and pride, proving that even in later years, her creative spark had not dimmed. Perhaps the most shocking aspect of Lucille's final 2 decades was her quiet resilience amid emotional isolation. Friends recount how she often spent hours alone, reflecting on her life, achievements, and regrets. Despite the fame, she sometimes felt profoundly alone, craving meaningful conversations and connections that went beyond admiration for her career. Yet, even in solitude, Lucille demonstrated an extraordinary strength, choosing to face each day with humor, grace, and determination. Through health struggles, family conflict, and professional limitations, Lucille Ball maintained an extraordinary composure. Her final 20 years, often misunderstood as a peaceful retirement, were instead a testament to her courage, her fortitude, and her unwavering commitment to integrity. While the public saw her laughter, only a few glimpsed the complex, layered life she navigated with such quiet dignity. By the mid-1990s, Lucille Ball's life had settled into a rhythm that balanced public appearances with private reflection. Yet the shadows of her later years remained ever present. Friends and insiders describe a woman who, despite immense fame, experienced profound moments of loneliness. Her health issues had grown more serious, requiring careful attention and frequent medical supervision. The vibrant energy that had fueled her performances in earlier decades was now tempered by the limitations of age and illness. But her spirit remained unmistakably strong. Family dynamics continued to challenge her. Disagreements over finances and her estate occasionally caused tension with her children and relatives, leaving Lucille to navigate emotional turbulence even in her private sanctuary. Those closest to her recall evenings when she would sit quietly in her study, letters and documents spread before her, pondering decisions that carried long-lasting consequences. The burden of maintaining both her legacy and personal relationships weighed heavily on her. Yet she approached these challenges with the meticulousness and dignity that had always defined her. Professionally, Lucille remained engaged, albeit selectively. She participated in tribute events, television specials, and mentoring sessions for young performers, carefully choosing projects that aligned with her values and artistic standards. Even when opportunities were limited, she sought ways to contribute meaningfully, ensuring that her presence continued to inspire generations of artists. The contrast between her public image and private struggles was striking. On screen, she remained the effervescent comedic genius, while behind closed doors, she battled exhaustion, emotional stress, and the complexities of aging in the spotlight. Perhaps the most surprising revelations from Lucille's final years involved her personal reflections. Friends report that she often spoke candidly about regrets, missed opportunities, and the fleeting nature of life. Yet these reflections were not rooted in bitterness. Instead, they were an acknowledgement of a life fully lived, one marked by extraordinary achievements, indelible contributions to television, and enduring love for her craft. Even in moments of solitude, Lucille's wit and humor remained, subtly woven into her observations and conversations, a reminder of the resilience that had carried her through decades of fame and personal struggle. Ultimately, the last 20 years of Lucille Ball's life reveal a portrait of complexity and courage. While the public celebrated her laughter and performances, only a few understood the intricate web of health challenges, familial pressures, and personal reflections she navigated daily. These years were far from peaceful, yet they underscored the strength, dignity, and humanity of a woman whose legacy continues to influence entertainment. Lucille Ball's final decades were a testament to resilience, showing that even in the face of adversity, brilliance, humor, and courage can endure, leaving a lasting impact on the world.